Hello everyone, welcome to today's news starter. Before beginning with the important topics of the day, let us question. And they are asking which among the above statement is correct. So what this particular question discusses about. Let's look at the statements. The first statement, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation releases the CPI combined. CPI is Consumer Price Index. Multiple different consumer price indexes are there. CPI combined is the most important consumer price index. So you need to know about CPI, about WPI, who is releasing the CPI and WPI, what exactly is the process, why we are using CPI, why we are using WPI. These kind of topics are very important for prelims examination. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, yes, they released the CPI combined, which is actually correct. WPI is published by the Office of Economic Advisor, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Yes, WPI is Wholesale Price Index. When you discuss about wholesale dealings or the economy in wholesale itself, Ministry of Commerce and Industry comes into play. So it is the Office of Economic Advisor who releases or who publishes the WPI. So it's a very simple question. Everyone should be knowing about it. And for this year prelims also, this topic is very important. World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum's meeting has been going on in Davos. So we need to know what exactly is World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum is widely misunderstood by people that it is an international organization or an international convention of multiple governments or multiple countries. Whereas in reality, it is just a non-profit organization. A non-profit organization, but it is very powerful organization. Why a non-profit organization is so powerful that it is any data given by the World Economic Forum or any report by World Economic Forum is given too much importance. So why is it in that way? Because it engages businesses, political, academic, and other leaders of the society globally, regionally, and industry based. So all the leading industries, governments, all the leading heads of governments, all these people come together and discuss about the future of the economy here. So this is why World Economic Forum is given too much of importance. It is an international institution for public-private cooperation because governments are there and private organizations are also coming up. The major reports published by World Economic Forum is given here. Take a look at it and try to remember it. Try to memorize this because you might get questions in your prelims examination. So this is about World Economic Forum. Apart from World Economic Forum, such a non-profit organization or international conventions or international bodies, anything that comes in news regularly should be studied very well. US presidential election will be discussed today. US presidential election has been going on. I mean, it is going to start, and at present, the primaries are going on. So, from examination point of view, you need to know why. Because in mains examination, there is a topic in GS2 called comparison of Indian Constitution with other constitutions. So, how US presidential election is conducted? What are the differences between the powers of Indian president and US president, or Indian president and Indian prime minister and United States president? So these kind of topics you can expect this year in mains examination. So US presidential election, how it is conducted, some basic differences you need to know. When you talk about these topics, you don't have to, you don't have to know each and every details for the examination. In examination, the topic is very clear. Comparison of Indian Constitution with other constitutions. In that context, you need to know what differences are there in election of US president in comparison with Indian president. First thing, the candidate who stand for election of United States president should be a natural born citizen of United States. Whereas in India, even a naturalized citizen can become president. This is a major difference. In US, a person can be the president for only 2 terms, whereas in India, there is no such restriction. A person can be president for any number of terms. The number of candidates from each party announce their candidacy. At present, two major parties are there in United States of America. One is the Democratic Party and second one the Republican Party. So these parties will announce one candidate as their presidential candidate. This is the final thing. Before that, anyone can stand for election. So in Democratic Party, for example, if 5 candidates want to compete for president candidacy, these 5 candidates can compete with each other, and then the party will decide who will be the final candidate. So among all the candidates, one candidate is chosen from each party by the nomination process. So in order to select a candidate, what happens is they undergo presidential primary elections and caucuses. So, presidential primary elections happen in each and every state where the party members will come together and then they select a particular candidate. So, in each and every state, conventions or primaries or caucuses happen where the party members will come together and then select a particular person among all the competitors. So, by the end of the primaries, the Republican Party will have one candidate, the Democratic Party will have one candidate, and they will compete with each other for the presidential position. So, in the presidential position, the voters do not directly elect the president. So, this is a very important point. In India, for example, the head of state in India is the prime minister. So, prime minister is directly elected, whereas the head of state in USA is the president, but he is not directly elected. He is indirectly elected. So the voters will elect representatives. These representatives are like MPs in India. So these representatives will vote for the president, and finally, the president gets elected. Apart from this, several other things also should be known. The differences between Indian president and United States president, the process of election between Indian president and United States president, these kind of topics should be studied. Do a little homework and study about it. I'm telling you, this will help you in your examination. Carbon border adjustment mechanism. For this year's mains examination specifically, you need to know what exactly is carbon border adjustment mechanism. For prelims, you might get a question which will be very normal, not much difficult. Who implements carbon border adjustment mechanism? The European Union is implementing carbon border adjustment mechanism. What exactly is this? The European Union adopted Fit for 55 in 2030 package. So Fit for 55 means what? The European Union has a plan to reduce their greenhouse emission by at least 55% by the year 2030 in comparison with the levels of 1990s. So in order to get through this target, what they have been doing is they have started a new mechanism called as carbon border adjustment mechanism. So according to the carbon border adjustment mechanism, the importers of goods who are in European Union will have to declare how much of their imports are resulting in how much of greenhouse gas emissions. So if I'm an importer who is settled in European Union, and if I'm importing some metals, or if I'm importing some coal or something from India, for example, so I will declare to the European Union that I have imported 10 tons of coal, for example, and I will tell that this will result in this much amount of CO2 emission. So because my import is going to increase CO2 emission, what I have to do is I have to get CBAM certificates. I have to pay a particular amount. It will be euro per ton of CO2 emitter, and then I have to get the certificate. So in this scenario, what happens is coal import from India will become costly. So the importers will be indirectly forced to invest more on renewable energies and not on non-renewable energies such as coal. So this is the mechanism. But the problem here is the European countries such as Germany or France are very good in manufacturing of renewable energy resources. So because of this, it will give a upper hand to them and it will demote countries like India or China and their exports. So how it will affect India? Indian iron industry, steel industry, aluminum industry, all these metal industries are going to get impacted very badly because European Union is one of the primary importers of Indian metals. So, metallurgical processes emit a lot of CO2 and other greenhouse gases, a lot of pollutants. Because of this CBAM, India's import is going to get impacted, and that's why you need to know about it also. From mains point of view, let us discuss a question. Explain the carbon border adjustment mechanism of European Union. Whatever we have discussed earlier, you can just mention that one page, it will be done. How would this impact India's trade? So you need to mention the trade between India and European Union and how this is going to impact Indian trade. You can, if you are good with diagrams and flowcharts, what I would advise you is draw a very good flowchart where you mention how these will impact Indian imports, and then you can conclude. Instead of conclusion, it would be better if you are providing a way forward. That would be better. Mains pointers trade through Red Sea. Red Sea is one of the most strategic locations globally. 80% of India's merchandise trade with Europe passes through Red Sea only. At present, because of the conflict between Houthis and Israel, the trade through Red Sea has become very difficult. The Houthis have been trying to hijack all the ships that are going towards Israel or coming out of Israel. So this has caused a lot of instability already. Countries such as US, UK, and India have also told that this should be stopped, and we are trying to take some measures also. Transport charges are increasing to a greater extent due to the instability in Red Sea. Also, demand has been declining due to Russia-Ukraine war. About the consumer price index, some basic information which you should know. In December 2023, consumer price index of India touched 5.7 percentage. According to the Monetary Policy Committee of India, 6 percentage is the upper limit when it comes to inflation. It should not cross more than 6 percentage. We have already touched 5.7 percentage, which is dangerous in nature. So this has to be controlled. What is the base year for consumer price index? It is 2012. Food articles are given importance when it comes to consumer price index. 54% of the weightage goes to food articles. What is the reason behind it? The major reason is out of the total earnings of an average Indian, most of his expenditure goes towards food. And that's the reason we give importance to food when it comes to consumer price index. So that would be all for today. Study well. Let's meet tomorrow. All the best.